Belle, congratulations. What does it mean to you to get this award?
Well, thank you very much, firstly. I think it's a great honour to receive an award. Anything that recognises your work, especially when you feel like you've been working quite hard, is fantastic. Sometimes it can feel like a bit of a thankless job. Obviously, I do love doing it, but there is so much that we have to do, particularly over the past few years. And I know that all of my colleagues have been working quite hard. I feel quite a lot for those of us that came in the 2019 intake. 2 months in, and we were launched into a pandemic. So the idea that I would be recognised amongst those fantastic members of Parliament is great.
How important do you think is the role of the MP in looking after, uplifting the people in their constituency?
I think it's extremely important for a Member of Parliament to be able to uplift their constituents, particularly when very, very difficult things happen. Again, the past 2 years with the pandemic, but actually I think the first example that I had of this, or having to do this, was when we had a terrorist attack in Streatham. People instantly felt very unsafe. I felt quite unsafe because the man that took out the attack, he said that he wanted to kill an MP, and they had put him in a hostel around the corner from my house. And the idea that the thing that we'd have to do is obviously make sure that everybody came together, but reassure them that it was safe for them to walk on the streets of Streatham whilst feeling quite nervous myself, was a bit daunting. But it is so important, because we can't live in fear as people. There's so many different threats that face us as individuals, but members of Parliament are key to making sure that people feel safe in their communities. Living in fear is just not a way to go.
Now, you've been a great champion of inclusion and equality in your constituency, in particular rights of refugees. How do you think communities can help welcome those with different backgrounds and help foster a more welcoming and inclusive society?
Well, I think that communities in Britain historically have been fantastic at welcoming refugees. We look right back to 1945 and the Kinder transport. We look at when people opened their home to Syrian refugees a few years back, and we now see that over 120,000 people are wanting to open their home to Ukrainian refugees. So that's the spirit that's already very much within our society. But I suppose it's important to give the community tools to do that. There are so many things that people want to do. They may see something on the news, they may want to help. So what we've tried to do in my office is give them a point, a collection point where people can drop things off if they want to, and then pass them on to the organisations that disseminate them amongst the refugee community, making sure that people actually, meeting people from the refugee community, because a lot of what happens is that they're put in this venue or they're put in a hotel, and they're not given the opportunity to, because of Home Office rules, etc., to necessarily go out into the community in the way they want to learn how to speak English. They want to be a part of the society, and restricting them from being able to learn how to speak English. And we all know the easiest way to do that is to speak to other people. So actually creating events where people can meet people from the refugee community, help welcome them to our country, as I know that we have historically done in the past.
How do you think that Parliament and MPs can be more welcoming and help in all kinds of ways women of colour?
Well, I think one of the first things that Parliament could do in terms of welcoming women of colour, from my own perspective, is perhaps not ask to see our past so much. That's something that happens to me, or has happened to me on a regular basis. I know it's something that the Parliament has said that they're looking into in terms of how they're reviewing it. So that might be a way. Before I became a Member of Parliament, I worked here, so collectively I've been in this building for the best part of a decade.
So they know you?
They should know me. There aren't many people that look like me, but I think it's great that the diversity of Parliament has increased. So what has always happened, and this is perhaps in any organisation, the more people you have from diverse backgrounds, the more people you then get from diverse backgrounds. So I think opening channels for people to come into Parliament and making people believe this is the House of Commons, it's meant to be the House of the common people. Everybody should be able to come in, everybody should be able to feel comfortable in here.
What do you think have been the main pressures on you as a relatively new MP? Is it pretty difficult? Is there a steep learning curve?
I think, as a new MP, there was a massive learning curve. As I said, I'd worked here before, and I thought that I knew a few things, but it turned out when I became an MP, I didn't know anything at all. There was quite a lot to learn, and there are loads of different conventions and rules that you might not have picked up on, loads of things that happen behind the scenes in terms of the chamber. I think for the past couple of years as new MP, the pandemic has probably been the biggest challenge. Some of us hadn't even got an office before we were asked to go back home, conduct Parliament by Zoom most of the time, and not being able to come in. And most MPs will tell you that the way that they've learnt is by, the way most people learn things, is by coming in and engaging. That's not something we were able to do immediately. So it definitely has been a steep learning curve in that way.
Thanks very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.